Mimi ningependa uniambie
Yeah.
kitu moja. Have you ever had the lowest moment in a career? This question, generally here, we answer them in two parts. You can choose to answer it lowest moment or highest moment, private life or business-wise. You are free to choose.
Okay. Let's see. Highest moment was, I think, when I went back to classic. You're doing fiti. So that first was quite exciting. But I think no, actually, gosh, there's so many. There's so many. But I think the highest one I'd say, in terms of, because it was a cross between both work and personal, was my final show at Nation. Reason being, it wasn't that I would say that my favorite show, but it was my highest moment, because for the first time ever, it hasn't been done again, but big things coming soon, my brother and I were in the same studio.
I listened
It has
to
never
that
happened.
interview. That was dope.
People have asked countless times, please, you guys come, let's record something. We never really say why we don't. We've just never done it, but we have our reasons, and soon that might change. So that for me was something big, because I was thinking, all these years in the media, people talk about you guys together, people see you together sometimes, but we've never had anything coming out of your mouth simultaneously. So for me, that was a proper high. The lowest moment was some time when I was on air. And at that point, it was just Facebook. Then my pop. So someone sent something on my DM, and it was a poster of someone who was missing. And so I finished a link, and I called them and asked them, "What are you talking about?" Like, yeah, this guy is missing. He's been missing since Friday. What? So I was like, okay. I didn't think much of it. Then the next day, I'm on air still. I'm in the middle of a link, and my screen pops up. Nani has been found, and he's dead.
Oh no!
You're in the middle of a link. You have a balancing tears. You're doing a happy link. You have to maintain that tempo. I finished that link. I pulled down the microphone. I burst into crazy deranged tears. But the show had to go on. Yeah, that was dark. I was literally seeing darkness. Yeah. So that was terrible.
I'm sorry about this loss.
Yeah,
I know it makes it even more difficult when, often than not, we tell stories about people. But then, what happens when the story becomes about you, or when it is somebody closer to you? And this is something I think a lot of media houses have been trying to make an effort to correct when it comes to the social and mental well-being of their staff. Are we doing enough to ensure, the work-life balance is happening in the office place, especially for the media fraternity, when you become part of the story, because it's directly linked? What do you think are the strides we've made in the industry, Tina?
Well, on that one, I'm a bit conflicted, but I wouldn't say enough has been done. Yeah, because you see, turning into the story is something else. You remember the story of the media girl who reported a story only to end up being part of the crazy story, in the case of Monica and everything. Can you imagine how hard that is? You've reported a story, and then the next thing you're part of the story itself. And even when it comes to media personalities, and one thing that a lot of people don't know, people will come on social media and say, oh, you say, kazi ilisha, nini alisota, kwani this media people don't say what. They forget media people are the same as your accountant cousin, your, your HR brother, your what. They forget that once the mic goes off, you stop being, being the person you are behind the microphone. You're still Likuyani, but you're a different guy. You're Likuyani the dad. You're Likuyani the man himself, who has a personal life, who has other things to do, who walks the streets like everyone else. So something comes out, and that story becomes some convoluted nonsense, whether it's true or not. And then at the end of the day, you still have to face people every morning, every evening on camera, behind a microphone, and there's all these stories going on. But I don't think media houses do enough to check on the mental state of that human being at the time, because you still have to come to work. They give you leave. If you want to leave, please, by all means, take it. Someone will come to the office, unajua tuseme unafanya kazi whatever, think of any job you can think of. Let's say you work in a hotel, maybe you're front desk or whatever, and you've just broken up with your person, or you're going through a nasty divorce, or so what, you'll go and say, some empathetic sort of leave, or get a sick sheet. Just call your doctor and get a sick sheet. Okay, home, paka usikie, uko fiti, you're capable of, handling your responsibilities. Will you go and say on radio today, leo siingi 10 naingia 12 juu jamaa yangu alinifanyia hivi? No. By the time you send that email, there's someone sitting at that desk. Yeah. So I think a lot of people in the media go through so much emotional turmoil that they cannot say, because there's the public eye looking at you, Sindio. Yeah. You have to be strong for yourself. You have an audience base to please. So you're basically the sad clown. You're literally the sad clown. So I think a lot more can be done, a lot more empathy from the employers, from HR, from colleagues. And another thing, bloggers, I wish they'd be held accountable for some of the things that they publish, podcasters for some of the things that come out of their mouths. I've personally had a very big fight with one of them. They had to pull down what they put up. Yeah. And apparently they couldn't see the foolishness in what they've done, because there's no other word for it was foolishness. Yeah. And these guys go home and you wonder, because even asking, you have a family. If the same things that you went spewing was spewed about you and your kids saw that, how would you feel? That's when you went quiet kidogo for a second, I think, akili karudi kidogo. So I think people need to be held accountable to that. But when it comes to mainstream, where there's actually a controlled setup, you have your boss, you have your PM, you have your HR and everything, let's be more empathetic.
Let's be more empathetic.
Guys in the media are depressed. Those are things that people don't say. Guys in the media are depressed.
But I mean, you remember the story of Kimani, and everybody was making a joke about it. You and I, Tina, have a common friend. Well, I just said the first name, David. And you remember his story, because ordinarily everyone will want to see, flashy lifestyle and everything. Well, these people are going through stuff. The entertainment industry is not that forgiving. And even to make worse, it's everybody always has a story about you that you never knew. I've been told stories like, oh, by the way, uncle, tunajua uko na huyu bibi mulizana, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like somebody just decided they're baptizing themselves as your wife, and everybody's running with that story.
Yeah, carelessly. Because like even this person, when they wrote that nonsense, when they published that nonsense, I called them and we spoke for a very long time. In fact, that day God really controlled my tongue, and asked them, some of these things that you let run on your podcast, did you do a background check? And the guy, this is someone who has a degree. So ni mtu amesoma, or rather nasemanga amesoma, and they go ahead to say, but I saw it on Mpasho, saw it in the open space, I saw it on Gafla.
My editor, have you ever heard of this? And you're talking about that. My editor, his name, he has a code name. It's called Uncle B. That is the most thorough editor I've ever seen.
I like that.
This guy will not just publish because he has to do a story. There's a story we had. We were one of the first recipients of the story when it happened in DRC. You remember there's a time the former president, Joseph Kabila, had been sentenced to, because of treason and whatever it is, to death.
Yeah.
We were the first media outlet to receive that news because we had a contact in DRC. The guy did not publish, including the fact that he knew the facts were standing out because of the volatility of the area and everything that could come as backlash. But then when everything was pieced together, we were able to publish that story. But then some of these stories could come out as actually they are factual. But then there's just one piece missing. That story will never go anywhere. And I like the fact that you're talking about how the media has evolved, and we have the digital space where everyone that has a camera and believes they have a phone that has nice pixels, they suddenly become journalists. How do you talk to these
all sorts
people?
Of nonsense. No, honestly, I have no sympathy, and I've said it before, I have no sympathy for reckless bloggers, I have no sympathy for reckless podcasters, I have no sympathy for reckless reporters. Those are guys who should be dealt with very firmly. Mtu akwe funzo. You cannot go around destroying people's businesses, people's relationships, people's families, people's careers, because you have a pen in your hand, or you have a phone and a lapel. No. Those are guys who should actually serve time. Ama you pay another fine that you will never forget for the rest of your life. It is very unfair because, unfortunately, even if you still pay that fine or even if you're to serve time, the damage has been done, and at times it's irreparable.
Yeah.
Because I mean, kwanza wase unaingilia familia mtu, you don't know. You've never been to their house. You don't even know them. You possibly can't even put a face to them. And you know, people talk. I'll give an example, even a very simple example, so you can imagine the gravity of what bloggers do. There's a time, some years back, I was at Nakuma Junction, and I had recorded, for some reason, I had to pre-record a music and everything, and I'm walking behind these two ladies, and one of them says, I know Tina Kagia. So of course I slow down to listen, and I look at her face, I don't know her. But yeah, she's this tall, dark, big chicks. Do you what I've been described? Oh, she has tattoo sleeves. Okay, I have tattoos, but no sleeves. And I'm listening to that description, and she's talking like she actually knows me. You see? So I walked in front of them just to see, will you recognize me? Nothing. So you see, people come up with things. She's decided that she has met me, that she knows how I look, she knows everything. In fact, I'm tall. Me, 5'1", I am tall, and I am dark. They are yellow. So now imagine a blogger who just gets
letters. Your highest stilettos, which you rarely do. Hawezi fikia ankwata kwa mabega.
Siezi. Anko ni mrefu. Siezi. So you see, so now a blogger will write, for instance, Tina spotted with Likuyani. The next blogger picks it up. Tina spotted wanabadilishana mate na Likuyani. The next one, Tina and Likuyani fight in public because of another woman. You know, that's how these silly stories start morphing. And the next thing you know, Tina and Likuyani divorced. And that's why I'm thinking, hey, the last time I saw Anko.
You know, it sounded like a story to you, but I'm telling you, you know, some of these things happen to the best of us. The only luck I have, I'm not even middle tire kind of, you know, what I say, media faces, and I love that. But you know, when somebody comes up with a story, and Tina, you're trying to find yourself in that story, but you don't see yourself in that story. Like nothing of what is now the new public truth is true.
Yeah,
and somebody has created so nicely woven facts about this individual.
Yeah, and it sticks. And let me tell you, remember the time, I don't even shy from saying this, the time a lot of nonsense was being written about me, left, right, and center, Sindio. So video houses used to call me, bloggers used to call me, oh, then say a side of the story. And I tell them the same thing. The reason I will not discuss such rubbish is because I have children. If I didn't, it would have been a totally different ball game. Sindio. And some of them at some point, even just by hearing that one sentence, knew clearly, if I wanted to come out guns blazing, I know what I'm saying, but I choose not to, because first of all, I'm not here to play for the gallery. Yeah. At the end of the day, I have a family and my own other interests to protect.
Yeah.
But there are people who do not care about that until the table turns and the cards are facing you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that sense of irresponsibility, in as much as, you know, people have all these things about the cybercrime bill, what do they think it's a good thing or a bad thing? People need to be responsible. Every time you pick up a pen, every time you open your mouth, every time you touch your keypad, you should be held accountable. I can't just wake up right now and decide, usingizi meisha, acha nichokoze edi, niandike venye najisikia. And you go to bed comfortably. Yeah. You know, back in those days actually, a property BT now, but I won't mention names. Hizo siku za the Pulse, the Buzz, nini.
Yeah.
There's a guy that used to write a very salacious column in one of the two, I won't say which one.
Yeah.
And people didn't like him a lot. But let's just say, to give a hint, his writing style was very different. So one time he wrote an article about someone. Nalikuwa ameongea mbaya kusema ukweli. This guy bumped into this writer, broad daylight, Kimathi Street. Hakuna kuongea.
Vita.
Salamu ni vibare. Vita in the middle of Kimathi Street.
Yeah.
Hapo tu. Yeah, they were not discussing anything, and you'll never write about me again. Na story yake ikaisha hivyo. So that's how guys used to handle it back in the days over there. If you remember my good friend Noni, the time he had been taken to court because of a camera. I think he smashed a lens or something because he was on a personal date and paparazzi decided to make a story out of it. Ikakuwa story ndefu, but I think eventually ikaisha tu hivyo. Yeah. I wouldn't like people to go the violence way or anything, but people just need to be responsible. Think, if that's your sister, if that's your son, if that's your brother, would you write the same nonsense? And verifiable truth. Even if you ask two questions about that conversation, msezi kujibu because they don't know. Then they picked it from another story and they regurgitated. Another time was him.
Kuna mtu
fanya by the way wapeleke.
Napeleka kotini vile mnaniona hivi. Kuna mtu anapata barua.
Alikupatia bibi wangapi?
Alijipea bwana.
Ama uliacha mimba wapi?
Alijipea bwana na watoto. Alijipea bwana na watoto.
Aya. Aya.
Mtaniandikia news.
Ukipendwa pendeka.
Ukipendwa utapendwa na nani? Utakuwa bwana ya nani mama? Haina maana. Mimi nawe kuwa kando. Kenya hii.
But I'll tell you, it's foolish. Even that.
Let the music play.
Yes, Tina.
Yeah, there's a time that time I was working for a gaming company, and we'd gone on a work trip